Yeah. One time for your mind, two times for your drinks. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the return episode of Nightcap Knowledge. Hip Hop, HBCUs, hard conversation. We're going to talk about what really went down at Tougaloo. Put your kids to bed. It's a nightcap. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Nightcap Knowledge. One time for your mind, two time for your drinks. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all for tuning in, tapping in for another episode of Nightcap Knowledge. My name is George Chuck Patterson. If you know me, you know me. If you don't, you don't. If you want to change that, you can tune in to Nightcap Knowledge every Tuesday at 9 p.m. This is the Welcome Back Show. We had some other stuff planned, but we got some pressing matters to address. So please like and subscribe to the Black with No Chaser YouTube, Facebook, and all of our social media outlets. Man, we appreciate every like, comment, and subscription. If you're out there tuning in right now, make sure you let us know where you're tapping in from. Shout out to all of our Tougaloo College alumni that are in an uproar in all of the comments all over social media. We want to invite you to visit tougalooalumni.com. We want you to get to the gate for Tougaloo Alumni Weekend, Lou City. We've got Mississippi Move, Black with No Chaser, Yard Boy, I Got It Made, and all of your What's Up Wednesday veterans, your What's Up Wednesday DJs. Please be sure that you register for every event that you plan to attend. It is going to be a grand occasion, and we will be prepared for your arrival when you get to the gate. So once again, that is tougalooalumni.com. We look forward to seeing your registration come through, and we will be in communication with you. So as I bring up my friends, my brothers, I'm going to bring up my boy Albert Sykes. Man, let me get my applause ready for the homie. Got to get the applause ready. Hold on. There you go. The man is in the building, Albert Sykes.
How you doing? How you doing, my brother?
Man, everything gravy, and I'm bringing up
I
CJ
just saw you yesterday, but
it feel like a month of Sundays, huh?
Yeah, how you
Hey,
doing, man?
man, look, everything gravy, man. We gotta wish Mac a happy birthday when he get on
That's
here.
what I
So
want to do first. Mac,
yeah,
happy birthday, because you ain't answered the phone when I called you earlier, too, bro.
look, he gonna come on in a minute. He said he just finished eating. Um, he had to eat his birthday dinner, and we can't mess with Miss J and her cooking it for his birthday dinner.
I ain't
Uh,
gonna lie.
what's-
I got me a good glass of yak right here, too. I just want to,
hey
I
man,
want
look.
to, I
Matter
want
of fact, let's do this. Let's do this. We're gonna bring CJ on the stage. CJ, the Black with No Chaser CEO. Welcome back to the show, CJ.
CJ.
What's good? What's happening? What Albert, my guy, what's up,
Hey,
man?
y'all, what you do, baby?
What's good? What up? Being with
Man,
y'all. I'm
I'm
sipping on
proud of
Cook
y'all,
today,
man.
dog.
Hey, we appreciate you. I think I'm gonna put my headphones on, make sure I ain't getting no echo.
Y'all can hear me okay, though?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay.
Do I have an echo on y'all end?
No.
Nah, we good.
No, I ain't got no echo. I don't hear no echo. Y'all both, man.
I hear a little
You in
something with, with,
16K
with
on
you
mine.
talking. I hear a little like
Okay.
little slight echo. Let me do
Oh, it
this.
might be me. I don't know. I'm just talking on.
Let's see.
Is it me? Is it CJ?
I think it's
Because I can
CJ.
get
He
my
on his
headphones
phone,
too.
so I'm gonna see if
Okay.
I can help with that. I'm gonna go through the roadcaster. No, it's definitely I'm echoing on CJ's end, I think. Yeah, we'll work it out. But look, once we get Mac on here, we'll definitely keep things moving and grooving. We lost Albert. Maybe it is Albert because now I don't hear the echo. And CJ is frozen. Is it my internet?
It might just have been the volume then on the volume on the back.
On the back end of it.
Yeah, like
Okay, let's see if we can get Albert back. Somebody will
Yeah.
on the
call him.
playback.
Hey, bro. I don't do StreamYard a lot, so I hit the wrong button. I'm like, what am I going to? It's okay. That's me.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I think we good though, man. Look, Mac is gonna get in here in just a moment, but for now, I keep us like this. So look, Albert, I know you done been on the show before, right?
I've been with you. Hey, man.
It's
I've
been
been
some
with you
years.
and Mac one time. Yeah.
Well, look, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. All right, CJ, he getting off camera for a second. Let's see. All right. We got some good. Doctor Shay. I ain't gonna call your whole name, cause they ain't what you got listed on.
My bad. I was trying to share. I was trying to share it on all platforms.
Yeah.
Make sure I
Yeah.
was switching it out.
Gonna do that. Gonna do that. We appreciate everybody for tapping in. So look, let's lay the land that we are dealing with. Let's set things in motion for the evening. So today is Tuesday, September 9th. On yesterday, which would be Monday, September 8th, I arrived on campus at Tougaloo College. I was heading to a meeting with the president. And we appreciate that repost. Headed to a meeting with the president of Tougaloo. We were discussing Tougaloo Alumni Weekend. Again, that's October 8th through the 12th, 2025. We'll kick off with the What's Up Wednesday, and we'll cap things off with a number of other events. With that being said, it was an awesome meeting with the president. Mac will be jumping on in just a moment. And in preparation for me getting to that meeting, I was gonna slide through Warren Hall, and I had no idea of any of the activities that were happening. Now, in the process of that, I exit the vehicle. I'm on the phone with Mac, and I say, "Man, what's going on?" And this me. I'm doing the old man. Like, look, I gotta put a widescreen. I'm like this. I'm like, oh, that my boy. I say, the fuck? Albert then brought Charleston White? Mac. I say, Albert then brought Charleston White. And then I say, whoa.
What
And I
I
say,
say? What I say,
and
Chuck?
I say, whoa, I didn't. He is not with me. I am not with him. What you say verbatim, Albert?
I said he ain't with me. I'm with them, cause I'm trying to keep the kids. Cause that honestly, we'll get into why the kids was outside in the first place. But
Right.
no, it was just like, look, I ain't with him. I'm with them.
I'm with them. I am with the students. I am
Right.
trying to make sure that
But
nothing
you
happens.
was on the phone with Mac to my he was I said, man, look, man, I'm not with him. I'm with them. You tell Mac, nah, man, don't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So I corrected it. But Albert, lay the land for how we arrived at this situation where
so nah, honestly, bro, because the thing I'm most concerned about is that the person at Tougaloo didn't do that with ill intent.
right. And the person at Tougaloo we're referring to, she's a professor and her name was on the flyer.
And she was reached out to.
Right.
So he was in town with some local hosts.
Promoters.
Right. And he had comedy shows. So he said, well, I want to stay behind and give to the kids. So he sticks around for an extra day. So you can kind of hear him in his rebuttal or his thing in the car where he was ranting. He like, this me staying for an extra day. So in his mind, he like, I'm giving something to this university and to these kids. But I want to give you some background of how
Yeah.
Tougaloo even became a thing that would be looked at.
Break that down.
So the guy has this. So if you saw the end of him walking out yesterday, you hear him saying, two black people can't get together and build nothing.
That's what, yeah,
So
he said that inside of the forum that was
right.
co-op.
I saw it on the video when he was walking out. Because remember, I walked into you. I'm trying to catch the kids, like, please don't beat them up. But what happened was, so before Tougaloo was even in his sight, he was dealing with a person that he does business with in Jackson, entertainment business.
Right.
So he has this thing that two black people can't build nothing together. And so the person who was hosting him said, I will show you that my family owns land and that they own land next to a legendary historic black college university. So he like, listen, my family owns land next to a legendary HBCU. I can show you self-determined black people.
Right.
So he was challenging Charleston to soak in like the opposite. So you can get where you think you might can win somebody over, but this a dude that's kind of bought into because he get paid for the narrative that he carries. So you can show him every and anything under the sun, but
Yeah.
eventually he has to revert back to the thing that he tells the world he is, which is a character. Because I guess we just going in at this point, Chuck.
Uh-huh.
So, so the dude tell him like, I'm gonna show you not only the land that my family owned and that we got a street named after us. I'm gonna show you this institution where black children learn to be free, liberated thinkers. So when that man came onto that campus, he stepped out of the car with the questions in his hand. He had the flyer. He knew that
Uh-huh.
he was participating on a panel,
Right.
and eventually at a point he got challenged and he said, I ain't come here to debate with nobody. So anytime that it felt like he had the advantage, he was okay.
He was
But
good.
then it's also that it wasn't singularly him. It was a three-man panel, and they literally at certain points, each of them snatched the microphone out of each other's hand.
Hmm.
Right. So they were. It was a very ego-driven, high ego energy, male testosterone. I gotta show everybody that I'm better than you.
Damn. He was just getting to the good part.
But yeah, I mean, I know he gonna jump back on, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what he was getting into is very much so what you kind of can gather from it
Abs- absolutely.
was
Absolutely.
that it was a situation where I didn't know about the egotistical part of, anybody else potentially being, there for show as well, to build up their own reputation. But when you on the panel with professors and on a panel with uh go Albert's back now, so I'm gonna let him jump back in with where you was.
Because you're right on point. See, what really happened was a man who is used to, if you had that same space set up and he just walked in by himself and stood in the front of the room and started saying whatever he want to say,
Right.
and people soak it up because that's what he get paid for. You talking about a person getting 15, 20, $25,000 an interview where people just ask him a question, let him talk, and they don't challenge him. So he, at a point, you saw him shrink
Hmm.
because he moved to a Trumpian move. I mean, a Trumpian move. When I'm saying Trumpian, like the dude
Hmm.
in DC.
Yeah.
So you saw him start calling the brother. He said, "That's Doctor Professor, Doctor Professor." So you start throwing a nickname on him that kind of is trying to shrink him,
Yeah.
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
you watching the ego thing happen, and it's mostly between, but it's between these two men that's sitting right there beside each other because one got to be right, the other got to be right. But then one is this celebrity that's absolutely not gonna leave this room
Right.
without the last word and the biggest splash.
Right.
Right. Because he can't get stunted on. He can't get stunted on in on video in front of those people, because
Yeah.
if he does
Which
get
is
showed,
right. Which is
you
part
know,
of the reason. If you see the video, as soon as he jumped up to walk out, I had just literally came back in the building. So when he said his piece and he got up to walk out, you will see me turn my back and throw my hand up to tell the students don't get up,
yeah,
because
I did see.
at the point that you get up, this is where it becomes viral. So as soon as his name pop up, and because they wasn't chasing him to talk crazy to him, they was actually fans. So if you see a portion of the video as he's saying what he's saying before he stumps out of the room, it's people that's clapping and laughing in that room.
right,
But it's also another portion of students in that room that's like, wow, I didn't know that this the roommate that I sleep with every night that would laugh at a gay joke, or
Mm.
you see what I'm saying?
right,
So you had a whole lot of things playing out in the room, and so he gets up and walks out. So I throw my hand back and tell the students like, don't get up. But the students that wanted to get pictures and videos and what, they was the ones that was chasing him.
gotcha.
So they was coming out as fans in the beginning. I'm telling him, man, go to your car, man, and go to your people and just leave. Like, just go on and go. Because he keep turning around talking crazy. Like, he's so mad at the dude that he arguing with on the panel. He don't have no filter for who he talking to like this at this point.
Mm.
So when I was so glad to see Chuck, because Chuck got out of the truck and Chuck looked at me like, damn, is that Abel? What the fuck going on? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for cursing.
Yeah, bro, this
Man,
black with no
you
chaser,
good.
dog. This nightcap, dog. You
But I
good,
got
bro?
to tell the honest truth. He looked at me like, God damn, is that Abel? What the fuck going on? So I just zoomed down the truck like, shit, I'm so glad you pulled up, bro, because these kids finna beat this man. They came out here loving him. And one of them, like, I'm finna
By the
whoop his
time
ass.
he got down that hill,
So you see me, I'm talking to Chuck, but then I run back to the car that I know that they in. I'm telling his people, man, unlock this door and let this man in his car. Y'all got to get away from up here.
Yeah.
Because he said, it was a few things that he said. One of the kids said, well, why you come here anyway? He said, they tricked me up here because I thought I was gonna be
lies.
talking to some kid, bro. He sent the screenshot last night on social media of the questions that he walked in that building with. So I gotta say that in Tougaloo defense.
Number
Right.
one.
Then there's also this thing of whether this event was approved or not. There's a paper that has two signatures on it that says that this is supposed to be able to happen.
That's right. So we want to make. I know that I made a post about the actual activity of what should be done. I did not make a recommendation for this professor, this staff member, this faculty member to be terminated.
Mm-mm.
Now, she should not be terminated, and she should not be reprimanded in any way because she went through the proper channels of protocol.
She did, and then she also knew who he was. So no lie, when I first talked to her, she said, "Well, wait, let me go see what's. Let me go." She like, I know who that is, but let
Yeah,
me go check and make sure. So she came. She went and did her due diligence. She came back and she felt like, listen, if he
like
come
hold up.
here, if he come here and understand the rules of the space of Tougaloo, we not cussing, we not calling kids niggas. We gonna you gonna have your pants up. Like they didn't even say nothing to him about the way he was dressed. Like he said something about the way he was dressed, but it was like, look, this is the way you got to come here because this is what this is. But the thing he was told absolutely is these kids that are trained to be free and critical thinkers. So if you start saying some of the things that you known to say, these not kids that when it come to question and answer, that's gonna be cute about it. So it's actually kids that showed up with cue cards that they already had questions that they written down because they went and watched his interview. So it was kids and then there's like, hey, what you saying about black women? And hey, I come out of a single mother home, or I've been shot. I'm a victim of gun violence. I'm a child in a home where it's three brothers and none of us went to jail, right? So it's kids that came in there prepared to say like we ain't just no lay down dummies. So honestly, I want Tougaloo to have some pride in the product that showed up in that room yesterday,
Mhm.
because them weren't no kids that come. Nah, there wasn't no kids that came to lay down. So honestly, bro, it was a desire on the students' behalf to have him there. They're like, oh, bring him. So it was some kids that wanted him there as a fan, and it was some kids that's like, okay, now he'll understand that it's people out here that don't agree with what he's saying.
Yeah,
And we're not gonna be a part of his core
Yeah.
audience. So one of the benefits of it, I think he lost so many more people yesterday that he could have gained,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
celebrity blinds you in a sense. We
I,
love to be entertained. So when he blow up and everybody take out their phone and start chasing him, this the moment I'm trying to stop from happening, because Tougaloo can't afford that. When a man sit on the stage and tell you, I call the police on anybody, I snitch on anybody. Okay,
hmm.
if you go out there and beat him up, and especially if a crowd of y'all beat him up, y'all gonna get expelled from this great
right.
institution. He gonna turn around and sue Tougaloo and say y'all brought him under unsafe conditions and he got injured
All
here.
right, hold on.
And then I'm gonna show you how dirty people think. He'll say, if your parents can afford for you to go to a private college, I'm gonna sue your family too. So I'm gonna press charges on you. I'm gonna sue the school. I'm gonna
Yeah,
sue you, and then guess what? I'm gonna put the video out of me getting knocked out, and I'm gonna make more
And
money
make
off
money
it.
off of that
I'm
off
gonna
of
make
YouTube.
more money off of getting knocked out than if you just get in the car and leave. That's why he didn't want to get in that car. You see me open the door for him on one side of the car. He ran to the whole other side of the truck and jumped in the back seat because he thought I was trying to be aggressive with him. I'm actually asking him, man, just go on and leave because you got these children disturbed. They came outside loving you, and now they like, listen, the only thing between him and us is you. And
yeah,
then Chuck, you got out of the car and you talked to them at the outer chaos, and what they tell you, they said 90% of the conversation was good. And he got up and turned the fool, and that's when we lost.
yeah.
So let me. I'm gonna jump in.
Come
And
on.
Yes, sir.
so I would say that I believe that when things kind of went left, one of the panelists was a is an attorney by trade, or I think has a law degree, and the question came up with regard to something along the lines of telling and something like that, something of that nature. And both of them offered their responses. The brother with the legal background gave a historical response and contextualized,
He
uh,
did. He
right,
telling
some
the
things,
truth.
right, about the way that slavery operated. For example, Harriet Tubman. Give an example of Harriet Tubman
Here we
helping
go.
helping others to escape the plantation. And White, I believe, countered by saying that there were others who stayed on the who told because they wanted to protect their families on the planet. You know, I'm not gonna give validity to what he said, but because he was not in an audience, he was not around his target audience in that moment. People who would just consume that and not push back against it,
Right.
he became uncomfortable,
He
very
shrunk.
uncomfortable.
He
And
shrank, bro.
right, you could see that he was intimidated. I'm a by trade. I do my research as well.
There we go.
I discovered that it's my belief and understanding that at some point in time, he also wanted to be an attorney. So, being in the presence of an actual attorney or professor, or professors and educated students at the same time, I felt like began to feel like a pressure cooker to him, uh, and he began to twist the narrative to make it appear as though the focus should be on an entirely different conversation, or that somehow Tougaloo brought him there to focus on the conversation about
Yeah.
facilitating and
Right.
perpetuating crime. Which, in fact, anybody who understands the history of Tougaloo College and what we're about, I mean, literally, we are the cradle of the civil rights movement. That's what Tougaloo College is known as. When Dr. King touched down in Mississippi, when Kwame Ture touched down in Mississippi, the first place they were going were Tougaloo's gates. They was getting to the gates immediately. And the reason that they were doing that was because Tougaloo, as a private institution, had autonomy that none of these other places had. So Tougaloo has been for years cultivating the mindset within us to stand on business at all times, no matter
Yeah.
whether it's the clan or a coon, to be really truthful with you. And so
No, he was fully informed on it. Cause I told him, I'm like, listen, bro. I'm telling the people that's handling him, like, listen, Tougaloo, when them gates open, this one of the rare places you can go and be black and safe. Like all the way from the
Hit the
civil rights
horns on
movement.
that one.
If you was running from the police, if you got to the gates and got in, they didn't have permission to come in them gates. And I'm telling him all the way down to like if you mailed a piece of letter over there and sent it to Tougaloo, Mississippi, it's gonna get where you sending it to. So it is this thing about Mississippi too that not just him, but anybody that come here as a guest, a visitor, or if you move in here and want to spend the rest of your life, you gotta understand what's in that dirt.
Yeah.
mhm,
What
facts.
we know is in that dirt, and what we don't know is in that dirt that we ain't discovered that's been buried and hidden away from us. When the university go to dig up to make a new school at they medical center up there, you see all the bodies they found that just been thrown out there and laid up, and now they
Graves.
gotta be
Right.
reintegrated. So I'm saying the soil of Mississippi count for a lot. So if you can't come, like,
Oh, that
it's
Mac.
almost like we need like a hood welcome letter that say like, if you coming, this how you gotta show. So it
Yes.
ain't about checking in; it's about respecting the soil.
Mac, that
Facts.
It,
light ain't gonna help you.
Absolutely, bro.
what you
You
say?
you
I'm
absolutely.
telling Mac, happy birthday first,
Happy
Mac. Before
birthday,
I
Happy
Matt.
birthday,
you ne-
Mac.
put some light
Appreciate
on
you, man.
your face, Negro.
That dude look like he up in witness protection.
I am, man, because y'all people might be wanted. Y'all like y'all might be wanted, and
Hey,
I'm telling about
they
y'all
got
can't.
big Mac in the building.
Hey,
Y'all
hey,
Hey,
might
look,
be wanted.
hey,
No,
I called you earlier, Mac. You ain't answered the phone, so I had to make
My
sure
bad,
you ain't
my bad,
start
brother.
beefing with me, cause
cause old boy.
yeah.
No, man, come on, man.
Nah. I
Hold
know
on, let
we
me fix
better
my
than that.
light. Y'all go ahead. Y'all go
But
ahead.
I'm
Hey, hold
telling
on.
you,
no.
man.
I think Albert touched on something real, man. I think that a lot of times people who aren't from here have a misunderstanding of what Mississippi is and who the people of Mississippi are.
Hello.
Right?
Yeah,
Mississippi is the blackest state in the entire country. In a lot of ways, many of us grow up not realizing that other places aren't as black as Mississippi is. And so when people begin to have a understand that unapologetic blackness
Good job,
exists
Mac.
here in a very significant way, and we're proud here. Like we some proud people. Um, Absolutely, we endure struggles. Um, Many of those struggles are things, external circumstances and conditions that the kids were trying to raise to him yesterday when they were attempting to discuss systemic racism as a factor. But in spite of those factors, we still create. uh,
Beautiful
impact.
things.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We create impact from where we are, and so certainly, I'm not saying any of this to explain anything to him. I don't think we got to really justify anything that was said
And
by
I
him.
want us to do this. I want us to do this. We have a lot of comments, and I
Oh,
want
okay.
us to be clear. I know some people may be catching up in the broadcast.
I can't even see the
Uh,
phone.
I see
so I
Tommy up in there, Dr. Tommy Mabel.
I will
What's up, man?
I'll throw some of these up on the screen to be sure that we can understand some of the questions that are being asked and we can add context to it. One thing that I would like to do is to bring in a comment that Mac shared with me. Mac, I want you to talk about the moment inside of Dr. Charles Holmes's classroom, the pre-law classroom, where Dr. Holmes came up with the idea to invite a particular political candidate that did not participate in any sort of debate anywhere else, and typically he would not have been welcome in any other environment. But Dr. Holmes taught us to ask the hard questions to the people who will end up being in charge if they win a particular election. So Matt, can you share that story, and then we'll address one of these comments.
So I think it might have been '03 or '04. Clinton B. LaSure, black guy, Republican candidate, was running against Benny Thompson for a congressional seat, who is Democratic candidate. They had not had any debate, period, um, across the whole, across the whole campaign. And what we ended up doing was the Pre-Law Society pushed the issue, pushed the note, got in contact and set up, asked questions about, hey, about doing a debate. And some of the folks was not happy because they didn't want to do a debate, right?
Yeah.
Um, but because we pushed the envelope as the Pre-Law Society, you got a group of college students that say they want to see who will be making decisions for them, one way or the other. We want to
One
be
way or
able
the
to
other.
ask them questions, right? And they did a debate. That was the only debate they had. It was right there in Holmes Hall. Um, and that's one of the times. The other time was um, when Dr. Charles Holmes talked to you about challenging the system and asking the hard questions. He got one of the instructors from JPD training facility to come.
Right.
So, and this is a pretty large white gentleman, right? Came in, thought he was going to educate the students at this black college about law enforcement and the training. Well, he came into our constitutional law class. CJ, you can already figure out which way things went. He didn't. Then I'm quite sure by 30 minutes in, he realized that was not his total intention for coming.
Right.
But it allowed us to ask the questions that needed to be asked, like why they were profiling us when we would drive from Tougaloo up to Ridgeland, or from Tougaloo to County Line Road, or to up to Target. Right? They profiling our cars, stopping us. We got a chance to ask those questions, coming from the student perspective. So, and challenging the system, right? They end up getting upset again. It's when you're asking the hard questions, 9 to 10, especially coming from students, people gonna get upset. They're gonna get bothered, right?
Yeah.
Because they are students. But as people always say, not only are we future leaders at that time, from what we were taught from the civil rights movement, from people like Brother Hollis and Baba Moses, uh, that you are the president. So these folks left college, went right into doing stuff, activist work or whatever at that moment. So it wasn't about when you grew up, you were doing it at that time. You were using that same type of training and process to ask those hard questions.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but
those are two examples. And Albert, I want you to jump in, but I also want to throw this comment out here just to clarify. And Mac, you definitely need to pull me up a glass of that the next time you see me.
this is my birthday gift.
That boy got that 18. That 18, yeah. Definitely a happy birthday to Mac.
Oh yeah. Everybody tell Mac happy birthday, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna throw some of those comments up. Your happy birthday wishes. And for the record, Tougaloo was never in any position to receive any type of check from the person or anybody else. This was an attempt by a Jacktown representative, a person who knows, likes, trusts, understands Tougaloo. He was doing something with a person that he had in this particular moment had made some previous money with on the entertainment side, and was attempting to show him that this institution, my family, and other folks in this city are able to do business together, dwell together, build together, innovate together, and overall just exist as Black folks. But then beyond that, this is a place that encourages young people to be free thinkers, question things that are brought to them, find the validity, poke the holes into the plan, all of the things that we do day to day. This is what was attempted to be done. And as a lot of people have already said in the comments, and our guest here tonight, he was uncomfortable in that moment when he began to be challenged, questioned, and the things that he was attempting to spew, propagate, all the other Tougaloo College English writing proficiency words that I might have forgotten. When that began to happen, this gentleman said, you know what, I got a plane to catch and I'm out. Now, Albert, I want you to speak to the conversation that you had with him after the fact when he said, I want to go to the hood.
So basically, when he walked out and said he wanted to go to the plane, I'm finna go to the airport, and it was a clear understanding. Like, nah, you can't just leave Jackson like that. Like, you'll go to the airport, bro. You got to come be accountable for what you just did, right? Because when it was between him and the person on the panel, he storms out of the room and he turns it into this firestorm with the kids. So it's like, no, you got to really understand what you did. You got a Black woman who felt like she had supreme confidence in her kids showing up and not being intimidated by him. Now her job is on the line, right? Because you act a fool. And then it's also other people leveraging relationships where the intent is not to bring harm or bad press to Tougaloo, but it is to let this man have an experience of learning and understanding. This narrative that you're giving about Black people is not true. You can go, and it's not just Jackson. You can go city by city and see where people really taking care. But Tougaloo is a very, very special institution where I'm telling him, like, listen, man, this is one of the few places where Black people own their knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
I had to give you the horn on that one.
the
Well,
state can't take that from you. Like, the Black people own their knowledge. If I went to Jackson State and created the cure for whatever, the state of Mississippi owns my intelligence. So it is that, like, bro, you gotta understand where you are. So no, Tougaloo took absolutely every piece of proper protocol as far as knowing that he was coming through those gates. He didn't do what was necessary to control him. The man sat there for a whole hour, no lie, and participated in a conversation that was contentious at times, but very respectful. It was at a point where he needed a moment because he felt like being challenged and not having a response. It's like being asked to read out loud in class, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Because that's one of the things he did. So let me tell you what happened earlier in the day. You never heard about him visiting the high school earlier in the day because there wasn't no problems there. He went in, spoke to a couple of classes. Kids asked him, why you talking this snitching? Why did you snitch on Boost's son? Like, he answering these questions, is all quiet. He took all their shoe sizes, bought shoes for him. Don't nobody know this, right? Then later in the day, what I'm telling him is everything that you did for the kids at the school in the morning is negated by what you said and did when you
Absolutely.
stood on this grass right here. So you can't negate what you did on holy ground, right? Because you went and gave gifts in another place. And so now what it is, this a practice in challenging people who not used to walking in the room and be in the
And
room.
being
Like
challenged, right?
right, and not be in the room itself. Like he is used to walking in the room and he is the room. So at this
There it
point,
is.
he has to share the room, and he like not only do I have to share it, I'm starting to lose the crowd. Like everybody ain't clapping as loud as they was in me. Cause it was I be honest, it was grown people that work on staff there that was in their room clapping
Yeah.
and nodding and shaking their head and agreeing with a lot of stuff, right? And then once he got challenged on something, he kind of shrunk, and then he turned into what I just he like the family member that know they got to go home at 9 o'clock and they could leave peacefully,
Right.
but they need to start a fight at like 8:58 so it'll feel like you kicked them out.
hmm To justify it. Yep. No, I would, bro. I will say this. I will say this, Albert. I do think that it's really, really important. I want to shout out the young sister. I think her name, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it.
He called out her name.
Dejanae, Dejanae,
It may be Dejanay.
Antoine,
Dejanay, yeah.
Dejanay,
Dejanay.
Dejanay. Yeah.
Antoine, she is the sister who was asking the questions that you see and hear on the video. She was a
Correct.
journalism major at Tougaloo, and she was trying to do her job as a journalist and asking the question that she was asking. She was also doing her job as a proud Tougaloo student. But he called her out of her name,
He
Yes.
did.
and
And so if you see a piece of the video when he did that, I'm steady saying, go to your car. And he called her out of her name. But at the same time that he called her out of her name, one of the kids said, they said, so you ain't gonna answer nothing? He said, I don't have to talk to no po motherfuckers. If you want to hear from a po motherfucker, go talk to your grandmama. So I
Mhm.
said, man, go on and get in your car. You being disrespectful. He was like, fuck you. To me, this way he said, he was like, fuck you. Because he don't know me. Like, I'm basically like, listen, can't nothing happen to these kids, and Tougaloo don't need this attention. Because
Mac.
when you sitting in the moment, you can't even people don't peel through the layers of what's happening. You got kids that can get kicked out of their school
Right.
that can't just pick up and go back to Chicago in the morning. They don't right, but then you also got a school that's a HBCU that's got things that is trying to work through on its own internally that everybody don't need to be drawing
Right.
attention to. And then you got the HBCU narrative that's national, but even the Mississippi narrative that we can't pick good leadership, we can't run institutions without stealing money. You see what
All
I'm
of
saying?
these things.
Right.
Right,
So I'm all of this is playing in my head at the time. Like the white people will get the video and say, look what them niggas doing behind that gate.
right. You don't go to a HBCU and be anti-black in your
Oh,
ideology, right?
listen, but can I be honest with y'all? If the cameras weren't right there, I was all for a full buffet of hands and feet.
Yeah. Full scholarship to Them Hands
But I'm
University,
telling them like,
aka
no,
Tougaloo.
they recording you. You gonna get
Right.
caught on camera. Man, don't throw your
Yeah.
career away because he gonna get paid anyway. This man
Right.
Yeah.
told you he just bragged that he made $5 million in interviews alone, and he made $100,000 in 4 interviews in the week before he came here. So he's paid. Your family cannot risk their name, their reputation, and so you even had some people reasoning with it like because you got all of it. I started to see so much. I saw to go back on social media for Sunday and Saturday, where you got people in the hood taking pictures with them everywhere. Like, look who I ran into, and they letting their kids take
And they
pictures.
proud.
Then
Proud
you
of it.
got then you got other people that's posting like, man, I know y'all ain't got this red in the city. So I'm kind of not in the know of what he really like. He's selling himself as a comedian that don't like Lil Boosie, which is kind of weird to me too, because like you don't really come to Jackson and talk bad about Lil Boosie either. So
Hey,
it was just
Amanda's
that.
in the comments, and I don't know Amanda
Nah,
personally.
but what they right, and so that's why I'm finna get to too. But the threats that came to Amanda didn't come from outside that campus. That came from an alumni group thread. That's like, we want blood when we see you. We gonna beat you. That's why I'm telling y'all, man.
No, man.
She did every piece of due diligence, and before Before we even left campus, man, people had already went on Tougaloo's website and pulled her picture in it. And it's like, no, this lady didn't set this up, and she didn't do this to make no scene or to set Charleston White up and put him. She basically was a professor that had faith that her students wasn't gonna be walked over by nobody, and that this was an opportunity for some discourse. And everybody know that this dude is a character, but he gave his word before he came in that school what
Right.
he was gonna
Right.
agree to. But what I do hate is at the same time that people are so upset about, oh, he should have never been on campus, and this is where people saying go kill the black girl.
That ain't got nothing
Right.
to do with that.
I mean, yeah, they turn. I would say this, man. I didn't feel that way. As someone that is in the social media space, we are content creators and things like that. I actually thought that the concept was innovative. I may not care for the individual that it was, but I understood that in the time that we're in, you got to be innovative in how you reach students, because we in a different, it's 2025, we're in a different era of how to connect and how to create opportunities for students to think than you did in the 1990s or in the 1980s. And so uh I'm never going to fault an educator for being innovative in how they approach education, because I
Right.
still think that what was being attempted to be done there was the desire to spark thought. And we are at a on campus where you want to spark thought. Um, with that being said, I believe that the sister, Amanda, should be protected and not
Absolutely.
disrespected in any way.
That's right.
Um, I feel the same way about the sister that was asking the questions, the student, Dejanay. I'm sorry if I said her name wrong. And no, I really believe that there's no reason that either one of them should be held to the fire. In my opinion, I know a lot of people were reactionary and how they thought about it, but I see it as an opportunity to say, wait a minute, how can we refine this? How can we refine how we do this? How can we leverage uh, what's happening
That's a
to
good point,
to
Lars.
show what Tougaloo is and how what Tougaloo really is, and amplify that. I mean, we got homecoming coming up. We got some big things that we've been working on, and the institution itself has a lot of things down the pipe. And I think this is an opportunity for us to say, wait a minute, you know, we understand that this may be why uh, our institution is on your lips, but allow us to truly introduce ourselves to you for those who may be
Yeah,
unfamiliar.
and I'm gonna tell you too, bro. When I'm speaking of layers, these the other things that's running through my head. Amanda could have said absolutely from the beginning. I ain't even gonna go ask the administration. I ain't asking nobody. I don't want
Right.
this dude on campus. And if I send word back and say, nah, Tougaloo don't want y'all there, bro, because they don't want the message that you bring. You know what he would have done?
He'd have lit
Started a
us up in.
social media campaign to say that the HBCU won't let me come talk to black people. And no lie, on that campus, people would be fighting her. It would be students fighting her saying, we didn't have no say. We wanted him to come because when you go watch the videos, it was people that was coming as fans, and I saw people that work at the school telling kids that they was walking past, hey, Charleston White up there in the cafe. So kids was coming in. Amanda did everything that she was supposed to do, and she went and talked to the people that she was supposed to talk to. And had he not stormed out of there and act the fool, and honestly, even with him slamming the microphone down, that would have just been like a mic drop, and then okay, that fool went out there and got in his car and left, and then nobody, right? And nobody would even know he'd been on Tougaloo campus except seeing the little clip with him walking out the room.
Right.
So some of the fandom, so it was a very, very eye-opening moment about what entertainment does and how celebrity blinds us in the moment, right? And then there's also that when it's a scapegoat needed, where now when you got a person who went through every piece of protocol that they were supposed to go through, and then it's like, oh, now it's trouble. everybody take their hands off of it and say it was her. Like, no, that like I bite the bullet for it because she trusted me and I trusted somebody who lives in Jackson who's saying, look, this man needs to see the truth on the other side of what he out here telling people. And you can take an honest attempt to try to teach one of your friends and you
Mac,
can
come
walk
on, get
into
ready to jump in.
yes, sir. Go ahead, Mac. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Man, my bad, brother. I my Tougaloo brain went back to 99, 2000 era when me and Chuck
So
and
that's when
CJ was
Cash
there.
Money was taking over. So I feel it.
Yeah, and we just thinking about. I'm looking at CJ, and I can just see somebody like that guy saying something crazy to CJ or Chuck about their grandmama, and I just don't see him leaving campus.
That was
I'm
the
just speaking as
point.
an
That's the
alumni.
point where I told him to get in the car. When he said the grandma thing, he didn't understand what that language meant. Boy, when you say
No,
go talk to
no,
your
no, bro.
grandma, no.
Nah, my boy.
Listen, no, you wouldn't. Hey, again, as what A Ball said when they had that verse and that guy got on stage, he said, "Man, you gonna have to cut these cameras off." We in a different era. Uh,
I
I,
feel
I
it.
I think what it shows, no matter that you can have fame, you can have money, and still not be a professional, still not be a
Very much
person
so.
that's secure in who they are, and still not be happy. The way he responded, you know what I'm saying? If you okay with money and you got all this, then why are you so upset? You know what I'm saying? You could say, man, forget them, I'm gonna go, right? You could have been a comedian and said, yeah, but I'm paid, right? You could have said anything you wanted to say. But being at that point, and what you're saying is it was gonna be a lose-lose anyway. He was gonna shit on the school if he was gonna shit on the school if you didn't
If
let him come.
right,
He was going, and then he turned around and showed his ass. But what
right.
I want folks to see again,
Mm.
don't let this stop. Now, what we need to do is make sure that people know how this person acts, and that this environment is somewhere he don't need to be, around folks, youth, and around children or anything like that, because he does not know how to conduct himself in a
Hello.
professional manner. It don't
Hello.
matter where
Right.
you from, right? You do not know how to conduct yourself in a professional manner. Now, if you want to talk to somebody that likes that are fans of HBCU, there's a place down the road, and I down the road from Tougaloo, and he can show up anytime there. We can have a conversation with the alumni. He's welcome to come. I can
Yeah.
call. We can make a phone call to the owner and ask what day can we get it. He's welcome to come and have a conversation with me
And I heard
And
they
or
got
with
good
adults.
chicken wings down there too.
hey, pull up.
But they say they
Yeah,
got their hands and feet special if you don't know how to watch
Hey
your mouth.
man, listen, I'm telling you, man. I I would say y'all. I mean, this is what we understand that is that much of Gen Z has a very much an interest in things like being influencers and content creators and streamers, and there's an interest in these things, and those
Hmm.
things are real. And so I can see why students would be excited. And I'm trying to correct myself where Lars, explain to me, don't call
That's
them
what I'm saying
kids,
about the
call them
entertainment
students.
part. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a excitability factor there, and I think that it would be that case, and that's something that potentially should be leaned into and not shied away from. But it should be done. Obviously we can.
Thank
There
you.
are others that we can bring that are of another of a standard that is reflective of what we want to see at the
Thank you.
institution. But overall, man, you know, I would say that what he did as far as the disrespect is concerned, as far as the way that he spewed anti-blackness on our campus, like I think I commend the students for how they handled it. I commend
Absolutely.
them for for holding us down. Again, I think that there's a lot of things that a lot of lessons to be learned, but also opportunity to leverage. Um, Tougaloo needs donations as a private institution, as Albert stated. So this is an opportunity to donate to Tougaloo if you love Tougaloo. If you're listening right now, this is an opportunity to go to tougaloo.edu and hit that button
Yeah.
and help run them numbers up.
As a matter of fact, as you mentioned that,
Go
CJ,
ahead.
Mhm.
there is we will have an activation during Tougaloo Alumni Weekend where we will do a 10 for Tougaloo challenge. So you and the person next to you, if y'all got to rub two $5 bills together to donate that 10 for Tougaloo, we will be doing that at the Tougaloo Alumni Weekend. So kicking off on Wednesday with What's Up Wednesday and rolling all the way through the rest of the weekend. We will be putting that link out. So if you are a Tougaloo alum and you have not registered for the Tougaloo Alumni Weekend, we invite you to go to tougalooalumni.com and you can sign up for whatever event, and we will be releasing the streaming version of Showtime at the Lou very, very soon. And also, all of these events are powered and brought to you by Mississippi Move and Black with No Chaser, along with a lot of other very, very hardworking and dedicated Tougaloo alumni. I do want to allow one very specific question. And I tried to go back through as many as, and look, I want to say this before I get this question. Thank y'all for all of these comments. Thank y'all for the views. Thank y'all for the engagement. I think that this is probably the most comments and engagement that our podcast has had in quite a long time, and we've been on a break. We've been working on a lot of things for Tougaloo Alumni Weekend, working on a lot of things for Mississippi Move, working on tons of things for Black with No Chaser. So we've been building historically Black businesses. We've been attempting to learn how to do business at a better and higher and more engaged level. We've been attempting to create systems that we can operate within, and then we can circulate our Black dollars. So I've said that. Now this may be a question, and I don't think I have an answer for it. But I want Mac, CJ, and Albert to attempt to answer this. Well, we lost Albert. He'll be back. Lightfoot, he's a Tougaloo alumni. He says a lot of things on social media that a lot of people may find problematic. He wants to ask this question. Can we answer the question at hand today? Does the no snitching culture help or hurt the Black community? And I think that's what Amanda was attempting to have a conversation about with Charleston being a person that promotes that he is a snitch, or I'm not sure exactly how he puts it because I don't really consume his
Oh
content.
no, he said
But
them words. He said it. He said he yeah.
yeah. So Albert, you on there now? Let's take a stab at Lightfoot's question, and then we'll go around the room.
So my thing with him was this: everything that you promote comes with a risk. So when you saying, hey, tell on everybody, anything you see, like he kind of, so he talking snitching, but he's saying like, listen, you're not snitching if somebody shoot up a house that a 93-year-old woman live in. He like, you should call the police and tell it, and then you should also gather and organize people in your community to go rehabilitate their house. So he's saying that on one side, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then he arguing with these rappers, and arguing with the rappers, he trying to influence street people that you can go do these things and then go home and be safe. So my thing is like, where's this? So once you start calling law enforcement and you dealing in with, because this the craziest thing. If you watch what's happening with our kids as young as 11 and 12, they starting to define themselves as either civilian or street people. So they say civilians can call the police, but street people can't. But these kids is like 10, 11, and 12 being taught by grown people that
So not only
it,
do we have to deal with gender identity, now we got to deal with how kids are identifying themselves in terms of what side of the road they land on in terms of.
right.
All right.
Because for them, it's like, nah, see, they don't think that you just wake up every day and you a civilian. To them, a civilian is a working person. And then a street dude is a dude that play in the street. So it's like, yeah, if you out here doing something in the street, you just take what come with the street life. But if you harm a civilian, but so if we watching Chuck, I don't know about you, but the biggest, toughest, hardest gangster I ever saw in my life was my little old grandma,
Hey,
who could come on the
come on,
porch
Mac.
and she could tell everybody on the block, get back, look, stop that cussing. Like it's things that your grandma could say, and everybody will stop what they doing and respect it. Now they'll turn around and shoot your grandma and beat her up. So then it is like where we just gonna let all the old ladies in the neighborhood get killed. So for me, it's not so much about how we gonna call in more police and how we participate in snitching versus regulating ourselves. We gotta start living like this ain't right. We gotta start living like, bro, this not able to happen. So if you got a couple of seconds, you talk about how y'all regulated the dorms at Tougaloo and how it was inclusive, but not because really what we dealing with right now is a constitutional question
Right.
of we the people, and how are we defining it, because that's shrinking and it's kicking us out. And so you see the White House today talking about Jackson, Mississippi as one of the top 20 places for crime. Like, I'm like, listen, while we arguing about this dude, you know what them white people sitting there waiting to do? Come in here and have their way, bro. And then you got a person that's saying, like, I tell on people, yeah, that might be an avenue to them getting right on, right. He might be saying that and then coming here and harming our city, right?
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, you putting people in positions that if you can give them safe houses and all these things that it take to come with it, and they make that choice, that's between you, them, and whatever. But I don't think that you go out here and wholesale encourage people to call police on people, because white people do that to us every day. You don't have to have a description other than nothing but he black. So it is, how do we do that responsibly? So that's my thing. How are we holding ourselves accountable and not weaponizing the law enforcement against our own selves? If I get mad at you right now, Chuck, I can call the police and say he in there holding people hostage, and I can sit on this live with you and watch them kick your door down, right, and raid your house in the, because this what people do.
Yeah.
So it is like, nah, we can't just weaponize the police. Like, you, some community responsibility and setting our own rules and ways about the ways that we gonna live. But if you talk about how y'all regulated that in that dorm, because that's a Tougaloo example of this how you take care of your people.
Yeah. Yeah. Mac, I want you to go now, and then we'll get CJ in there, and I'll round mine out with the what Albert is actually referencing.
So I was just thinking personally, right? My cousin, um, she was found up on her house in her neighborhood. She had a set routine. They had just left church. Um, when they left church, this was several years ago. She didn't call her sister, right? Went back to the house and they found her under the house,
Mm.
right? The next day.
Wow.
Nobody knew anything, right? Several years later, um, her brother was sitting on the porch talking to a gentleman. They knew the gentleman that walked past them. The guy came back, shot him and the gentleman. My cousin lived. Of course, he told that this man shot me 3 times. The man went to jail 2 weeks before his trial. After meeting with folks to tell him, like, hey, this guy shot me, he was murdered in his house. Right? These are
Mm,
not. It's not fictional characters, right? These,
right.
and I think sometimes people don't think we know people from around the way.
Mm,
And these are people that's over almost 60, and his sister was 70. So, but nobody knew anything. Nobody said anything, right?
Yeah.
That's 2 examples. Chuck was actually on the live with me when we talked about my cousin who was, had some disabilities, who was driving, had an accident, went to go get help. Nobody knew anything. She went missing for 15 days, and they came back and they found her in the creek where her car went missing. But the state trooper
Yeah.
towed her car less than 24 hours after she had an accident with groceries and everything in the car. You know, her accident report did anything. So when they say no snitching, it is what I know from working in the facility with these same children from around those communities and you tell them, go tell somebody, go do this, go do this. You tell them that, and you teach that to them in the institution, and then when they go back home, when they go back to Vernon Addition or Washington Addition, they do that, and that's not the culture of that community. They are in more harm then than they were prior to,
Yes.
because it has to be environmentally conducive, meaning that depending on where you live in the environment you're in, that might be the norm for that environment. But every environment is not the same. I know a person who had some tenants kicked out of his place. He went to do work at his house. The tenants showed up 2 weeks later. He called the police. They had him. The two guys made him feel very uncomfortable. They wouldn't leave the property. He called the police. The police showed up and told him it was a civil matter. They did nothing about it, and they let the two people that was trespassing leave, and spent more time arguing with him by how he was talking to them. So I'm just playing, and when I'm saying, when you ask the question about the no snitching rule, it's
Yeah.
not as easy as to say yes or no.
Yeah.
That you should always tell, or you should not say anything. It is one of those situations that is a gray area where you're going to have to read the situation case by case to know what's appropriate. Because again, the blowback on you or your family, with circumstances, right? And people might not like the answer, but it's the true answer. If you ever lived in certain areas, been around certain areas, you know it's not as simple as yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you might have other methods of resolving the issue. If you're trying to think about resolving the issue another way, you
Yeah.
definitely don't reach out to other folks, right? But those are case by case. I think that our children gotta understand the real, and it gotta come from us as they grow, um, to go into being young adults, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of my reasons I was late, because I was arguing with my child about simple stuff, right? Because you're trying to help steer them and guide them in a way, and they're going to form their own opinions, they're going to form their own perceptions, and whatever their perception becomes their own reality, regardless of the fact. And they live in a different world. So you're trying to help them and guide them as much as possible, but also controlling our community is the biggest narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Controlling our community and the language that's spoken in our community and the consequences in our community helps eliminate a lot of that choice of snitching to no snitching. If we could prevent a lot of things from happening by being more accountable for the children and for other folks
Yeah.
that do things in our community, then that helps alleviate that. Where somebody's put in a position where they don't know if they need to call somebody or not, and then if they do, what's going to happen if they do. Um, that's a lot of accountability, and it goes back to us holding our folks and ourselves accountable, for how we conduct our things in our community. Truth be told, if anything should be affecting us, we should be worried about the attack from the outside in, not the attack that's going on in the inside. We should be at a place where our community, because we've seen all these movies before that's happening right now, right? The producer Agent Orange, what he got going on, the stuff that's happening is not new. We've seen all these movies before. The thing is, we are not doing our part as a people, color, to block out the noise to focus on what we need to do to take care of us and take care of us first, and not let these folks influence us one way or the other. Because right now, and I happen to tell you, it's these young cats are caught in in a perplexed situation because you don't know what to do. There's a consequence regardless. If you say that this cat did this, you risk this cat running up on your partner, running up on your grandmother house or your mama house or you, because you said something, because you're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
That's a consequence them young brothers gotta carry, and they don't know. And depending on where you live at, you can't avoid it. You walk out your door, walk to the bus stop, them cats right there.
They at your
You got
neck.
to see them cats. You got to see them cats every morning.
Hmm.
So you going. It's a lot easier to be with them than to be against them, and that's what
Hmm.
happens.
CJ,
Well,
you want to jump in there?
Uh, well, uh, before I do, I want to take the opportunity to I see that Amanda uh has been speaking in the comments. I want to
Yes.
actually give her the opportunity. I want to invite Amanda to the conversation if she would like to be a part of the conversation, is interested in, being able to speak on our own behalf, we like to give you the platform to be able to do that, Amanda. If you want to do that, we can send you the link. You just let us know if you're interested.
But we
And
understand if you cannot because
Yeah.
right,
of your position and the ongoing,
right,
whatever that Tougaloo is doing,
right.
the
We do
institution.
understand, but I also wanted to make sure that
Right.
you were given the opportunity. Um, Now, with that being said, I think that my perspective is a unique one in that I'm
Solid.
a criminal defense attorney. We understand, Amanda. I just wanted to make sure because I know, it's important to be able to,
That's right.
have a say in your narrative. And, you know, eh, I certainly don't want to see a black woman who was attempting to do something for students be persecuted in any shape, form, or fashion. Anybody that was trying to do something for our students being persecuted for attempting to do so. And so um, I'm fine with us, disagreeing on, who should be present and who shouldn't be.
That's right.
But and we can disagree, but we not fixing to threaten. Uh, you know what I
Absolutely
mean?
not.
We not fixing to threaten professors at Tougaloo for attempting to actually uh, educate. So
Yeah, that's
that's
what
just
hurt
that.
me the most. It's like
Yeah,
these people have this issue with this man, and their response is let's threaten to harm this black woman. Like that wasn't fair. And then what I also want to tell people too that came up in one of the comments that Amanda made. It's a little vague, but I'm gonna give you
Mm.
some background. So you got a complicated dude. So what you also watch was the transformations between the different phases of who this guy is.
Yeah.
So in one space, he talks. This not a dumb dude. So for people to say, "Oh, he shouldn't be like," because don't base that on prestige. Like this is not a non-intelligent person.
Gotcha.
When you catch him out of character, it's like, whoa, okay, woo, woo, woo. So you can see the switching in out of character. But I'm gonna tell you what you really watch. This a dude that went to jail in his teens. Like I read up all of this. Went to jail in his teens. Ended up, I guess he snitched on his homeboys, or they got messed over in the system, or some
Right.
situation with it. But the dude actually got juvenile detention laws changed in the state of Texas, right? So he was this activist. He was this activist guy who went up against the state of Texas, got juvenile justice laws changed, and what he ran into was, I don't make no money from doing the positive. So what you watching is a dude. He wasn't built for the long run. See, Mac can be comfortable, like, man, I might die broke, but I'm gonna die broke striving towards freedom. You're gonna have some people that think freedom is a financially constrained thing. Like I'm not free unless I got a lot of money. So you got this guy that feels broken. Like I went out there and gave all that I could to my community. I didn't make no money, and I don't get on the news, and I don't get recognition. And we should be so glad that he got out of that space, because if you there for money, if you there to be on the news, if you there for recognition, you're not there to serve the people. So he's made a choice that, hey, what I'm gonna do is serve my economic interests. So you looking at a broken man that I'm not sure what you can do to fix that. So that's not an Amanda problem. And
Yeah.
when you hear him sitting in that car saying, and I ain't get paid for this, that was not a reference to Tougaloo. He came with some anger because he had events at another venue and he didn't feel like that financial situation went right. He knew he wasn't getting paid at Tougaloo. He asked to come there for free. But so what I'm saying is you watching a dude that's like melting and morphing into these different people until he hits the thing that triggers the audience and the phones come out. Because yesterday, had nobody followed him out that room, he would have just been a fool stumping to the car by
Yeah.
himself. And then you still would have got out of some truck, but you'd have been like, damn, that's weird. What Charleston White doing in the parking lot by himself?
Yeah, and I'll jump in here. And I want to say this to Sarah. I don't think that Albert is in no way, shape, form, or fashion trying to cape Superman for this guy.
Oh no, this
CW.
is
No,
no. I'm definitely holding up for the institution and for the person who trusted that this man would keep his word when he come. No, so what I'm also saying is this is a complicated person who's showing up with all these different. So he describes himself as a character. He shows up as three or four different characters. You watching a man melt down in front of himself in a whole room full of people because he not in control. Nothing about Albert is defending this guy at all.
yeah. Well, but we can disagree, Sarah. I appreciate your comments. I also want to speak to what Albert mentioned in the way that we conducted ourselves in the dormitory. So Nightcap Knowledge is definitely about providing solutions. One of the ways that we provided solutions when we were at Tougaloo, there were always disagreements. Sometimes we may have handled them in a physical manner, but we never wanted to allow anyone that lived next to us. If it was in-house, it was in-house. If it was external, we handled it in a collective and unified manner. And I'll just leave it at that. I definitely thank you for that thumbs up, Mac. I think I got the what you was house 4 seal of approval. 3 and 4. Well, I don't know what house Mac lived in when he was on campus. You was in 5, 2.
Yeah, I was house 1.
No, that's
No,
what we all got
yeah,
there
no,
was house 1. But
well, you talking about after that? I moved off campus. And
oh yeah,
yeah, and then I was in house 3, and then I came
yeah.
back to
There
house
you
3.
go, there you go. But the reason that I'm bringing all of this up, Albert, I talked to him off camera because I was totally confused. I'm like, I know Albert ain't running with this dude.
Right.
I'm like, all right, so I have to ask these questions like, how did you get connected? And I think this was an honest attempt by people who have been in the struggle, who have been a part of organizations and a part of institutions that are attempting to make sure that our people are enlightened and educated and also enacted. So I think that's the impetus in how we arrive in this moment. Now, whether or not you can understand or whether or not you can agree with how we arrived at this moment, we are here now. And we have the opportunity to activate and engage around our institution. And I'm going to carefully choose my words in this moment right here. That we are in tumultuous times. Not only is our institution in a point of transition, there are a number of HBCUs in the state and in the city. Maybe let's say county. In the county that are at a point of transition, and we could find ourselves more activated to support some of the activities, support some of the people that remain on these campuses that have a particular mindset. So I'm asking this. These are Chaplain Johnson words that I learned while I was at Tougaloo. Are you willing to invest your time, your talent, as well as your treasure? Are you willing to invest your time, your talent, and your treasure in the institution that gave you a chance to become who you are or who you are in the process of becoming? I say that now because we know the landscape of what we're dealing with. Amber Williams is speaking in the comments about the guns, the big guns that are being deployed by the celebrity in chief, and we can say these types of things on this platform because I believe that the person that spurred this conversation and the person that inhabits the White House are one and the same. They have propaganda. They are profiting from a particular type of propaganda, and it is done so in a way that is hurting a particular group of people. Now, I'll say this. I dropped a link in the comments. It is a fundraising link. We can donate $1 if we can enact $1 per Tougaloo alum, whether you were wronged by a professor, whether you were wronged by a staff member, whether you were wronged by me, in any way, shape, form, or fashion, all of that is that's over and done with. We're here in the now. We are here in a moment where we are, we are calling you to be better. We are calling ourselves to be better, and we're calling ourselves to stand up for Tougaloo. In the next month, we have a converging point. The converging point is Tougaloo Alumni Weekend. And we can have more conversations around this, but truly, the only solution that we have right now is that we come together and we can show alumni engagement, alumni dedication. That means that we're going to have to stay engaged over a particular period of time, meaning that it has to be consistent. It has to be, we got to put our money where our mouth is. So if you're not, and I'm working on paying my life membership for TCNAA. Publicly, I'm saying I am not active with a local alumni chapter because I be on the baseball and soccer field. Now, I can pay my money, and I think I did pay my money to the Gulf Coast Tougaloo alumni chapter for the record. But I don't do nothing because I'm at the ball field every other day of the week, every day, the ends and why, honestly. I'm asking because I saw this thread happen. Somebody said, well, girl, let's get active together. Let's get financial together. So over the next month, it is September 9th. By the time we get to October the 8th, that will be What's Up Wednesday. How many Tougaloo alumni? Shout out to Dr. Shahar Tova. She just submitted her third life member installment over the summer. Amen to that. How many alumni can we get to join TCNAA? Life membership, monthly membership, just join a local Tougaloo alumni chapter. If we can start increasing the alumni engagement for alumni weekend with local alumni chapters, or with an idea that you've been sitting on and you know that it is absolutely outstanding, Mississippi Move and Black Men No Chaser have a commitment to Tougaloo College. If it wasn't for Tougaloo College, neither one of these platforms would have been created. And for the record, Albert Sykes has an extreme commitment for Tougaloo College. So everybody here is on the same page. We're all here on the same page. We can't continue just to beat the conversation of CW. CW gone, man. He didn't got his clicks, his likes, and his views. Off of that, he has his audience. It's time for us to transition to something that is more beneficial to us. Yes, the policies can be improved, all of those things. CJ, like you want to jump in and we can go around the horn because we're coming up on 10:30.
Sure. I would just say that, from my perspective, um, accountability absolutely can still exist,
Amen.
and that accountability can still be tempered.
Right.
There's I think there's space um for correction and reflection, while also utilizing this opportunity to again leverage it to highlight our institution in a positive way and to continue to be innovative in how we think about
Amen, Lars.
approaching things moving forward. I think that there's opportunities there to do that. Um, as far as what was concerned, in, from my perspective, he didn't make our school look bad. He made himself look bad. Um, by saying things that he said, but the things that he said are the things that he typically says, and so I'm not surprised by what he said, and I'm not surprised uh, that he did what he did, and I think that a lot of people that are upset because he was given the platform or the space upon which to do it on our grounds, and that's understandable. Like I
Yeah.
get that part, I do. Um, and when I saw it yesterday, um, my immediate response or desire was to respond uh, and correct him about the fact that there's always been an alignment between the streets and our institutions of higher learning, particularly Tougaloo College.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, Tupac has been on Tougaloo's campus. He pulled up on Tougaloo's campus. Uh, when you talk about the intellectuals and and the streets, I mean, like the reality is that there very much so is uh, alignment there, and that a lot of us, as you highlighted and underscored before, Chuck, many of us grew up in the country or in the hood. You know what I mean? Like a lot of us did, and so it's not uh, far fetched that we would be having the conversations that we're having. Um, you're at school to spark thought, and
That's
so
right.
I welcome the opportunity to do that. I think that uh, I would encourage with a more vetted process, uh, the continued desire to innovate and be on the cutting edge of how you approach learning
That's right.
today versus being recalcitrant in our approach or reactionary in how we respond to learning. That's with no disrespect to the academics who I deeply respect. And I know to be innovators in their own right. So that being said, like I say, moving forward, this is an opportunity for us uh, as an institution to grow and leverage that conversation is happening. Um, Better and stronger conversation should be happening around and about Tougaloo. Uh, there's an opportunity, and I think we have been building momentum for a while. It's crazy that what happened yesterday because we
Yes.
were working on something pretty major. Uh, that was the reason why you were even there
Right.
to begin with. And, like, I ain't speaking on it, but I know it to be that was why it was so interesting and coincidental that was what was happening at that time when you have Black with No Chaser, which was born right out of Tougaloo College. It is literally it is the birth child of four people who got the Tougaloo together and have been friends since 1999 and have grown this into what it is. And like now we're leveraging what we have created to create something else for our institution. And so we can't really touch on it all the way yet, but we're moving in the right direction. And I hope that people will allow the opportunity and space for us to use this momentum to to shift our institution back in a positive light and direction, because that's what we intend to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Matt, you got some closing remarks?
I my thing is the students. I was wondering. I don't know how the temperature is on campus, but being able to do a follow up after the situation to
Right.
talk with them to get their feedback to see how did it make them feel to have someone speak like that to them or in reference to their school or their ancestors or their grandparents and use that as a teaching moment how to carry yourself and how to be professional and how to ignore the empty wagons and let them get you excited and take you out your, take you off your square. Um, I think that'd be a good. I don't know if that's able to happen, to circle
Yeah.
them back up, kind of create like a town hall. In life space crisis intervention, we call it a drain off, where you can have them come in and be able to talk about how that situation made them feel. Once everybody get it out, dealing with the present, where do we go from here? And just say, how do you apply that to your day-to-day life? How are you going to handle this when you run into the next ass, right?
Yeah.
When you run into
Yeah.
the next person that's going to create a barrier across your road or your path, how are you going to handle that? When someone tries to take you out your character, how are you going to handle that? What's the best move you need to make, right? I think that's a good teaching lesson for them to show them also that just because you get older does not mean you mature, you know. And some people don't mature. So that will be let them know that these are things you're going to run into as you get older, and some of the folks are going to be on different levels. And the
Yeah.
money don't change folks for the better, right? They don't make them no smarter because they got more money, you know.
Hmm.
So those are conversations that can be had with our students currently. Why this situation is still hot, why this situation is still stirring, and make it a teaching moment for them to help them to go forward. And that's it. That's all I got to say about it.
Well, Howard, I
I
want you
can't
to
I
jump
can't see
in.
the comments.
What'd you say, Matt?
I couldn't see the comments.
Okay, I was about to bring some of those comments up, but I wanted Albert to speak specifically to what he plans and has already coordinated with several of the students for this Friday, and then I'll give some closing comments.
Yeah, I spoke to the students, and honestly, man, I was so proud of them. So I want to be clear. I don't condone or approve or endorse any of the way that this man behaved on that campus. Because I see some of the comments saying we rationalize, like, no, what everything that he did was wrong. What I will say is, I saw students immediately say, nah, we don't want no parts of it. And they started organizing yesterday. Like, nah, we got to have a conversation. And honestly, the conversation they want to have is not just about him. They have some larger agenda things that they saying, look, now that we sparked up. So in a sense, what might have been by his design or some ulterior, like what might have been by his design and maybe cause a disturbance actually woke some students up to say, nah, we don't just not like this. It's a lot of things that we don't like. So now they asking each other to have conversations, but then you start seeing them reach out across campus for different leadership to lean in and kind of hear from them. But yeah, man, I'm more excited to see that they like, nah, we ain't gonna go for that one. And this ain't the end of it. It's not just that no more Charleston whites can't come on the campus, but it's also making sure that Tougaloo ain't never labeled as a clout chasing university. Like Tougaloo is not a college that set that up so that they can get a lot of clicks and it get them. That was not the school doing that at all. It was at a certain point the dude turned into what he has to be to get attention.
Right.
And yeah, so that's how that was, man. But I'm really excited that the students start organizing themselves and they kind of carrying the Tougaloo spirit and they done it through the whole thing. So the shame is not on the school or the kids that go there. It's actually the dude who thought he could disrupt tradition and he didn't.
He did not. He did not do that. Tougaloo students did exactly what Tougaloo students are known and accompanied to do. Matt, you want to jump in there before I play this
Yeah,
video?
I don't know how much Albert talked about himself, right? So, and for those who don't know and see Albert and those who are just trying to understand the connectivity, Albert Sykes is one of the mentees of the Bob Moses, right? So the Algebra Project, Provine, he's not new to organizing, not new to activism. This is something he's been on that campus 1,000 times, being connected with all the work from civil rights movement, the veterans of the civil rights movement, Freedom Summer. He was just there with us for Freedom Summer.
That's right.
So when he speaks about the work in the organizing, this is something he's dedicated his life to since he was a student in high school, to continue to do the work. So he does have a real connectivity to Tougaloo College and the mission that And this has not the first time somebody showed their ass. It just went. It, this just happened to be social media, and I don't want us to be hypersensitive and take it out of context.
Right.
Somebody showed their ass with us when we were there. We've had celebrities on campus when we were there. Social media just make it instant, and it
Yeah.
becomes so quick, so fast. And these children are dealing with the same thing that we dealt with. These young adults are dealing with the same thing we dealt with. We
Yeah.
handled it. We were able to handle folks in one way or the other. They'll be okay too. We don't want to handle them with kids' gloves. They ain't no different than anything else that has happened. Because I don't care what era you was at Tougaloo, some shit happened. Some shit happened, right? When you were threatened in the '60s and '70s by folks that were trying to get on campus doing the movement, something happened, right?
Yes.
And this ain't the
Yes,
first
man.
time, and it's not gonna be the last. So we want everybody to take that and understanding that that we just got to be prepared for the shit when it happens.
I
That's it.
want to
Exactly.
say too, Chuck, like to anybody here listening, I absolutely love Tougaloo College, and it's no feeling like pulling through them gates and understanding like my
Yeah.
life is what it is because the people who raised me was protected by them gates. So I would never bring harm back there. And so I do want to acknowledge the young lady who said, "Hey, intent matters, but we gotta acknowledge the impact." And before anybody attack Amanda or anybody else, I'll be the person that say I trusted somebody that I love, who
Right.
trusted somebody that he does business with, and it was, hey, this dude want to move around and speak to a couple of kids, and he want to give back, and
Yeah.
so like I will say that this not Tougaloo just doing it, and I'll say that I was reached out to, and I asked them, hey, what y'all think about this, and even when the yes came back, that wasn't no easy yes. They went and said, well, hey, whoa, wait, and guarantee that these things don't happen. And
Right.
he agreed to come there and display a behavior that he didn't keep his word on. And I get people saying, well, what did you expect? Or, right. And it's also, so we respect it. But I definitely want people to know that the impact is absolutely acknowledged, and the intent of him coming over there was a local person who thought he was teaching Charleston a lesson and opening him up to some Mississippi history that this
Right.
man just wasn't ready to digest because he's the star of his own show.
That's right. That's right. And speaking of the star of the show, we definitely have to shout out to the people that allow us the opportunity to produce this broadcast. So I definitely want to give a shout out to Calypso Sway. This is a twerk out, flirty, fun fitness founder and lead trainer. Calypso Sway, friend of the show. You got choreography, timing, energy, which equals one fun workout. So if you want more information about this, we will drop the link in the comments. So we've got PS Soul Fitness. Calypso Sway is ready for you to twerk it out.
Mac, why you ain't
At
moving, bro?
Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. is a $10 cover. To register, visit tinyurl.com PS Twerkout. That's right. It's at A&A's event venue in Pearl on Highway 80. So we like to thank them for their support of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, shout out to everybody in the comments. We do this each and every Tuesday night, Nightcap Knowledge. It is Black with No Chaser. And Mac, what is time for us to do? Oh, we taking.
Oh, my boy,
He got that. He got
the
that Japanese.
Japanese. Absolutely.
That's all right, man. That's all right, man. Look,
Hey
hey,
man, thank y'all so much, man, and thank Tougaloo. I'm glad to be here because I just didn't want all this confusion going around with the professor and the threats. That's like, so I appreciate y'all, and I'm so glad to see that so many people engaging and loving Tougaloo like they are tonight.
absolutely, man. We appreciate you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep loving on our people, and we will do the same. And hopefully, prayerfully, without any doubt, with all the action that we can muster, we will get to where the money resides. Episode of Nightcap Knowledge We talked HBCUs. We talked hip hop. We had a hard conversation about what really went down at Tougaloo. We'll see y'all next week for another episode of Nightcap Knowledge. Once again, thank y'all for tuning in, tapping in, checking in. Be sure to hit that link in the comments for your chance to donate to Mississippi Move as well as Tougaloo College Athletics. We'll see you for Alumni Weekend, October 8th through the 12th in Tougaloo, Mississippi. Get to the gate, baby. It's Lou City.